Hey guys, it's Emma, bringing you another video tonight. Today's video is going to be all about different tongue piercing, or not different tongue piercings, it's going to be about tongue piercing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the piercing itself, the aftercare, what to prep for it, and then how to change it. Okay, so some important questions that I have that I want to answer for you guys first before I change it. So one of the questions is, who can't get their tongue pierced? So just like it's unlike your ears, because when you get your ears pierced, anybody can get it pierced. With your tongue, it's a little bit different. If you have a short tongue, you can't get it pierced. So if you are not able to stick out your tongue or stick it out very far, then you can't. So I can. So that was not a problem. People who have a lot of webbing that stretches far up the tongue, the webbing should never be cut because it can cause swelling, suffocation, and all that kind of stuff. So it has to be done medically to get that webbing cut. So if you have webbing, you can't. If you have a vein in the wrong place, that's kind of rare for that to happen. Let me go through my notes. People with certain health conditions, so if you have paralysis, nerve issues, and then if you're underage. So most places you have to be between 14 and 16. With a parent, you have to be over 18 though, without a parent in the state of Illinois. So some common misconceptions is that your tongue piercing gets infected very easily. And actually, if you take care of it, it's one of the easiest piercings to get. I've had my ears get more infected. My tongue has never gotten infected, so especially my earlobes did. So the only way to get infected, people think, is through mouth germs, basically. But eating and drinking will not cause infection. And you should always do research before you get it done about how to take care of it. So if you're more prone to infection, you should know ahead of time how to take care of that. So the next step is, once you have kind of read up on information about tongue piercings, you got to choose your place where you're going to get it done. Make sure they've had, especially with a tongue piercing, it's different with an earlobe because most people, that's the first thing you learn how to do. This is a more complicated thing because you are piercing muscle. You want to make sure you go to a good shop that has a piercer that's been piercing for a while. They've had a lot of experience and they know what they're doing. Make sure that they're using good metal and it's not just cheap metal that they're going to put in your tongue. All of that, it's very important. So make sure you do your research and ask people who have been to different places what they recommend. So for jewelry for your ears, it's usually 16 to 18 millimeter. I believe mine was 16 millimeter, and it is a straight barbell made either from titanium or surgical steel. They will have to go through different allergy things with you if you are allergic to certain metals. I'll show you what mine was pierced with, if I can grab it. So this is what mine was pierced with originally, and the barbell, the little balls just unscrew like that. So I'll show you in a couple minutes how to take that in and out, and how I used to clean it. Okay, another question I had here was pain level. I don't have a variety of piercings. I had my nose and my ears, and I had my belly button, but that was about it. The pain actually wasn't as bad. I think the worst part of it was the healing process after, but it really all depends on the type of person you are and your pain tolerance level. So that's definitely, if you know, getting your cartilage pierced hurt a lot and you cried, then I would not necessarily recommend this piercing. But if you handle cartilage without a problem, then I would definitely consider, if you want to get this, thinking about it, because it's not bad. Okay, so now it's the actual piercing process. So they will obviously first check out your tongue, make sure your veins and everything look okay. They will really check to make sure it's okay, because it is your tongue and they don't want to permanently damage your tongue. You can't have your tongue piercing close to the tip of your tongue. That's a misconception. People think that you would have it close to the tip, but you actually have to have it a couple inches in. So I'll show you. I can't talk tongue now. A couple inches back. So once they mark the position, then they will just put the clamps down and then they will pierce you. Once they remove after the needle has gone through, they will remove that and slide the jewelry in through the tube that remains in the tongue. They will then attach the ball and you're all set to go. So it's just like any other needle piercing that you get. They do the same thing for your ears. Totally spacing out. Okay, so what I wanted to get into after that, before I show how to change it, the most important part of it is taking care of it after you walk away from the store. If you don't take care of it properly, it's on you, and you're gonna have some serious problems. So before they do the piercing, they gotta make sure your mouth is clean. So they'll actually have you use like some Listerine and clean out your mouth and swish that out. And that's what I use to clean, and that's what they recommend to clean. So they will tell you how to clean it. There's instructions on most websites. They can even give you like little pamphlets depending on where the place is, or you Google it really. So what I did was twice a day I swished it with some Listerine mouthwash, and I also I did a tiny bit, like Listerine, like that much, in the little Listerine cup, and I also added a saltwater wound solution that you just get at like Walgreens. And it literally is just salt water. I mixed the two together and I swished it around twice a day, and it healed perfectly fine. Part of my problem when I got it pierced was I had burned my tongue in hot chocolate like the week before, and like my whole tongue, I had burned my tongue. So after I gotten pierced, like my tongue was all messed up. But after that, it was fine. The healing process with it was awful. Not because it hurt, but because your tongue swells up. And I was constantly taking Advil to bring the swelling down because like I worked. And I'd go in and I was talking like this, and people couldn't understand what I was saying. And it was really annoying. It made it really hard to eat. For the first like week or two after you get a pierced, they recommend not eating like hard solid foods, no pizza. They really recommend just eating like applesauce, yogurts, softer foods that are easier to chew and that won't get in the way of it healing, especially because it will be swollen. Some people's tongue don't swell, most people do. Mine did, and it swelled for a while. So things to avoid after your piercing: no hot drinks. They say don't take aspirin. They say no alcoholic mouthwash. Don't drink alcohol. Limit your kissing and all that kind of stuff. Don't play with it. That is the thing. Don't play with anything that you get pierced after. Don't put your hands in your mouth. Avoid smoking, and then don't try and change it until it's time to heal. Healing time is roughly 2 to 4 weeks after getting it done. Mine swelled for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then after the swelling, it was perfectly fine, and I changed it, and it's been fine since. So, yeah, not bad. It does need to be cleaned 1 to 2 times per day. Honestly, now that it's healed, I don't clean it at all. Probably should, but you know. Yeah, the swelling was the worst part of it, because you can't even talk, like, at all. And the more you talk, like, the worse it is. It's like, oh, and people couldn't even understand it. I would try so hard to enunciate. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, go over some things that are not normal and some things that you should definitely look out for after you've gotten your piercing, and things that are normal. Normal: swelling up to 2 weeks after having the piercing, some discomfort, feeling a little rundown, swollen glands, and tiredness, not being able to stick out your tongue fully, and a small amount of white pus come out of your piercing. That's normal. Not normal: excessive swelling that gets worse after 4 days, so that it becomes embedded or painful, difficulty breathing, dark brown, green, or yellow pus, one that has an odor, that's a sign of infection, blisters on your tongue, burning redness, that's a sign of allergy, fever, chills, nausea, vomiting, flu symptoms, bleeding, pain after the first day of having it done, swelling of the throat, speech impediments, and paralysis. Oh my gosh. If you have any of the symptoms above, you should go to the hospital possibly, or talk to your piercer. And do never, ever, ever, ever remove a piercing yourself. Don't ever do it. Alright, that's all. So there are 5 different types of tongue piercings. One is the midline, which is what I have. There's the tongue web, which is just 2 tongue piercings, like that. The third is a horizontal, so rather than going vertically like mine is, it's horizontal. Or a smaller horizontal piercing that is connected and it goes through like the middle of your tongue. The third kind is called the frenulum linguae, which is like this, that like webbing piece right there. That's the 4th one. And the 5th one is a side piercing, so to just get it pierced on the side of your tongue. So there's 5 different piercings. 5. Let's just put it right up at the camera. Obviously, they recommend getting the midline. That's pretty much what everybody gets, but you can get whatever you want done. So, but most popular is midline when I have. It gets kind of awkward when it's horizontal, it makes life more difficult. So, and there is more chance for, not infection, but for it to get caught on things when you're chewing or on a horizontal, so just so you know. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is change the piercing. So I showed you what I got it pierced with, this, and I changed it after it healed, so I'm going to show you how to change it. Alright. So both of these balls can come off the barbell thing, and you can switch up the colors. I've done red and green for Christmas, but Christmas is over, so I thought time for something new. I wish I had blue because it's still winter, and I think blue would be really cool for winter time, but the closest thing I have is black. So until I get blue, I'm going to put the black in. So what I find is easiest to get it out, the red one on the bottom you unscrew first, and then just pull the bar through. There. Oh no. Feels weird having it out. So here's the back. Y'all probably can't see that. Okay, so I'm gonna unscrew the green ball on here. And I haven't had it pierced for a full year, which is what it usually takes for it to fully heal. So you can't really leave it out for more than like an hour because it will start to, it will start to close up pretty quickly after that hour. So you don't really, unless if you want to let it close up, you want to definitely make sure that you can get that changed right away. And if you need help, like if you can't do it on your own, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, feel free to always go back to your piercer and they will change it for you. You don't want to have to go back through the piercing process again because you couldn't do it on your own and it closed up. So definitely go back to your piercer and they will totally do that for you. Okay, so now I just have the bar and I'm going to put one of these black balls on there. Make sure it's really tight on there. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to bring my mirror so I can see a little bit better because this mirror is helpful. Slide it through the hole. Like that. Okay, the hardest part is getting the ball on the bottom because it's just hard. You'll see. And now it's on. It took me an extra minute after I paused the video to get it in. But there you go. So I want to go over some quick myths and facts. A myth, tongue piercings are traditionally signs of prostitutes. That's a myth. Tongue piercings are nearly always infected. Myth. You can pierce yourself if you know where your veins are. Myth. Cheapest studio is the same as an expensive one. Myth. You can buy piercing equipment online that's sterile. That's a myth. You can go out drinking after getting a tongue piercing. Myth. Smoking doesn't affect tongue piercings. That's a myth. It causes speech impediments. Myth. It breaks your teeth. Myth. And they leave terrible scars. That's also a myth. Some facts. They have been around in many kinds of people and many tribes throughout history. Tongue piercings are unlikely to get infected and will very rarely become infected if cared for properly. This is all truth. If it is infected, it means you haven't taken care of it properly. You should never pierce yourself. The cheapest studios have highly qualified piercers. These are all true. Piercing equipment online may be still as sterile, but it rarely is. You should avoid alcohol and smoking. And it will not cause a speech impediment if it's properly done. It will not jam into your teeth, and it rarely leaves scars or marks when they're removed. So if you guys have any questions about what's normal, what's abnormal, feel free to comment, ask questions. But yeah, that's all I have for today. So that's how to change it, and that's information about tongue piercings. This is Emma with Peaks and Valleys, and I'll be back at you.